Hello. So today I will present my information from the chapter on organization, chapter 4. What is organization? I've listed some of the key points in the definitions given in the text. It is the architecture that frames the writing, an underlying structure that holds things together so well we don't have to think about it. It provides a clear direction in a purposeful way. It fits the message. It's flexible and it's complex. So I like the analogy of an architectural structure. Because when you think about it, once you have figured out your idea or your message or your topic, the next step is to figure out how you will present it, which is basically the design. And it's important to figure out the function, like what is your purpose for your writing, because I think about how, when you think about all the many different buildings we see, let's just say you're creating a structure for exercising, like a gym, and then let's say you create a structure for dining or eating out like a restaurant. So each structure will be designed differently based on its purpose or function. And always, you can design your paper or your writing to fit multiple modes. So designing a multifunctional structure that can accommodate working out and eating out. So I love that analogy to help with thinking about organization. When it's time to teach organization to your students, there are a few things the text highlights that we should focus on, and that's having a strong lead, a nice sequence or flow, transitions, and a conclusion. So within the makeup of organization, those are the things that you want to highlight. All right, and so I included a visual image of the student writing guide for organization. And oftentimes when I pass out rubrics, I always tell the students to focus on your goal. If you want to get a 6, just look at those. Look at that area so that you know that's what you need to get there. And then the trait shorty is clear and concise, and that's there to help with making sure you have all the components for a clear organizational structure. The next component of the chapter highlighted some books that have interesting structural designs, and the two that it highlights specifically were Surprising Sharks by Nicola Davis. And in this book, she shares surprising unknown facts, but she plays on the things we already know about sharks, that we fear about sharks, throughout the book. And then the next book it highlights is Down, 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 A Journey to the Bottom of the Sea. And within this text, it has a lot of visual features, and the structural design is set up level by level, looking at the sea. So each level, the author highlights, the different sea life for that level. And then pages 102 to 103 gives you about 10 more text to use to show interesting organizational designs. The next part of the chapter actually gives us some sample writing pieces for us to score the 6 traits, being sure to highlight the organizational component. So I listed the page numbers for you to go to look at those. It's page 104 through 115. And I thought it was pretty cool because some of my scores matched up, and of course some of them didn't. I wasn't too far off though. Okay, so the chapter actually finishes up with 12 different strategies for teaching organization. And I will just use this one slide to highlight key points from each of those strategies. Okay, number one, modeling the writing of the lead. So basically, once you have figured out your topic, you want to practice constructing a strong lead. So the text recommends to maybe try out 2 or 3 and pick which one you think is the strongest. And they also, of course, recommend you modeling this with the students and allowing them to help you figure out which would be the best lead. Number 2, list tired leads to avoid. So we often see those same overused and boring leads. For example, hi, my name is Tamia, and I'm going to talk about organization. In this paper, you will find, do you like California? I do. So those things they want students to avoid because they're overused. And they also recommend that you actually list them or post them somewhere so that students won't use them. Number 3, get specific about how to begin. So the lead is important, but you also want to teach students different ways to start off a lead. For example, a startling statement. You could start off with dialogue, some action, just depending on, the function of your piece to draw your readers in. Number 4, it says write badly on purpose. And it's funny that they actually recommend this because I know even when we teach strategies for like Daily 5 and stuff like that, they always have us they recommend that we have students show the wrong way and then you have students show the right way. So here they actually have you implementing some of those bad leads that you introduced from number 2 so that students can avoid those at all costs. Number 5, envision writing by exploring genre. So in this section, they want us to highlight the different forms of writing, not just the basic 3, the informational, explanatory, narrative, or opinion/persuasive. Those are very broad topics, and they want us to, introduce students to the multiple genres within those overarching topics. And on page 118, figure 4.5, it gives us a list of the different forms of writing or genres that we can introduce students to. All right, number 6, describe a few design possibilities. And so, and this is after you figured out what you want to say. Now it comes to the point of how you're going to say it. They list step-by-step, visual, very descriptive writing, compare and contrast, problem solution, main point with supporting details, and chronological order. So those are just different ways to highlight the genres. For example, if you choose step by step, you would probably be doing instructions, a how-to piece, or maybe a recipe. Number 7, order the details. So, once you have once you have figured out what you want your paper to be about, then you come up with a sample design and what it could possibly look like. Number 8, talk before you write. And a lot of times my students come to me, and I like this because they say, I don't know what to write. I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, so tell me what happened. Like, so if they're thinking of a narrative story, they can easily say, the time I went to Kentucky Kingdom. And then I'll say, so what happened? It's like, I got on the roller coaster, and I'll say, so was that the first thing that happened? So allowing students to talk out their plan and talk you through it is a great way to help students get their minds geared towards organizing. Number 9, play with time. So in this section, they want us to focus on movie moments, like how Sometimes we are at one point in the movie, and then a few minutes later, say 10 years later. So right now you're living in the current moment, and then you fast forward 10 years down the road. So they want them to be able to do that within their writing. I think that's very complex, but they actually recommend us doing that. Number 11, explore transitions. And that's pretty straightforward. Introduce the students to different links to connect thoughts, and page 124 actually gives us a few after a while next because of that. And the list is very short because there are so many different ways to link one point to the next. And last but not least, practice writing killer endings. Just like you practiced your lead based on your topic, they recommend you practicing your ending and being sure to pick the strongest one. And that ends organization.